We've been doing this for 32 years. We started out in Pueblo. Started getting larger animals. And decided we needed to move. This is where we wound up. Never planned on doing this, it just kind of happened.
We've probably rehabbed and released over 150 bears.
At least.
At least.
And several hundred deer fawns. We're one of the only facilities in the state that will take in orphan deer or bears. And we've dealt with just about every animal native to Colorado. Mountain lions, bears, deer, elk, antelope, turkeys. It's just become a lifelong passion. We taught school for 30 years in Pueblo. We used to commute, and we did this as we taught. I mean, it's been a non-stop thing. We don't use volunteers. We do it all ourselves just to keep the contact with our wildlife to a minimum. You know, shelter, food, providing it with the needs it would need when it's released. I don't think there's any magic trick to it.
Their instincts are so strong. Suitable habitat with food availability, they will do fine. It's so instinctual to them. They don't need to be taught how to hunt. They don't need to be taught how to find food. They just do it naturally. And we've had enough follow-up on releases that we're sure that we have a lot of animals that reach maturity and are very successful.
We see that a lot in our deer fawns. They're extremely hard to rehab because they are people-oriented, and we've been able to soft release them from here. And you know, the native deer, they just blend right in with them. It's a really working situation, like we call them our volunteer. You know, it's just as good to have them associate with real deer than people. I think the more people they're around, then the harder it is for a release. Especially with the bears. I know we're really strict with that on them because, I mean, we don't want to turn out a problem bear, you know. 9 of our bears have come from the Colorado Springs area, and 3 of them from our area, Canyon City, Cotopaxi, Hillside, and then this one is from just 10 miles north of us in Custer County. And usually the officers that bring them to us they're the ones that decide, you know, where they're released. We'll probably wind up wintering this little guy. He probably won't be able to be out until springtime. We have several vets that we work with if we have problems, but most of the animals we deal with are healthy. I mean, occasionally we get some that are not and, you know, don't survive, but we do have contacts with vets. We've had some injuries, like a couple years ago we had the one that went in the pizza shop in Colorado Springs. He ate all their frosting cups, drank a bunch of oil, and went to sleep on the shelf. And he had a really pretty bad injury on his back leg. And you know, you don't handle him. I mean, and being volunteers, we have no right to use drugs or anything like that. You know, if a drug is used, it's either by the officers or the vet. And I thought originally it could have been electrical burn, but we determined that it wasn't that, and he just recommended the spray we used and an antibiotic, so we were able to get him on the side of the cage, spray that thing, and it healed perfectly without any kind of manhandling or anything else.
And then just give him antibiotics in the food?
Actually, he'd hang on the fence, I'd be out the back, poke him in the butt with a needle. You know?
Do you have favorites amongst these creatures?
You know, I would have to say yes, I do. Bears, deer, mountain lions, badgers, bobcats, raccoons. You can't pick a favorite. You really can't. They're just all, what we've been able to witness dealing with all of them is just phenomenal.
They're
you know,
all
just
spectacular.
to see their instincts kick in. We've had badgers that have came in eyes closed. And in fact, this cage right here, there's chain link along the bottom of these, but about the center part is bare. And under that rock is just dirt. That little guy was this big. He tunneled under there. I mean, it was amazing the amount of dirt he kicked out. He eventually tunneled under the wire and got out the back. And he would come back in the daytime, go under the rock and close the door. You know, who taught him that? There's no guarantee to what we do. You know, you just give them a chance to do what they're supposed to do, but
they all face a lot of adversity.
a lot. Got a bear cub this year from Canyon City that was laying on a dead mother in a backyard. And she probably had been hit by a car but didn't just die, you know, immediately. And the game warden had to actually put the dead mother in the trap to bring him here so the cub would, he wouldn't leave her, his mother. No, we see a lot of really hard things. And you wish they didn't have to go through that kind of stuff. It's our life, really. We don't go anywhere. I don't want to go anywhere. We've witnessed things here that people never see.